there is a topic that I've brought up a couple of times now, and when I do, it sparks an entire conversation, not only maybe in a podcast that I'm on, but also in the comment section. And this is something that we're going to be seeing one way or the other. We're going to deal with it for the Switch 2, and that comes down to the price point for it. And it seems like right now online, there's pretty much an assumption, and one that most people are looking to when it comes to that price. But I am starting to wonder now, as I've been observing the market here for a little while now, right, since these PC gaming handhelds and inflation and stuff have kicked in. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we're a bit off on this one, but I wanted to give some of my thoughts here today. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. And let me know down in the comments, of course, as we're going through, what your thoughts are on the price point for Nintendo and maybe how they'll approach this, as it seems like any day now they could at least get the ball rolling with the reveal. In fact, there has been some stuff going around, rumors that they could be showing the Switch 2 actually this upcoming week. Now, one of the sources for that was a person, I believe, on Discord who did put out information around the PS5 Pro, put out information around Grand Theft Auto, but recently said that they made everything up. So with that in mind, yeah, it could be this week. It could not. I mean, here's the thing. We're ticking down to the end of March either way. I just think Nintendo may want to show this system ahead of their investor report that they'll have, and that is the first week of February. So this week or the final week in January makes sense, I think, to show a 3-minute trailer and then probably relay to everyone when they'll have an actual presentation to go over everything in a bit more of a formal setting. And then, yes, unveil the release day and the price. And that is going to be a big, big thing to see how exactly they navigate this. And if we look back, say, when the Switch was first about to be unveiled, like, so we had the trailer that was at the end of 2016. And then as we got into January, we did have their full presentation. And there were all these different rumors and speculation, everything going around with the price point. And let's just take a look back here. So this is over on Business Insider, and this is on the build-up to that initial Switch presentation where they were out on stage. They were doing the Joy-Cons and the ice cubes, and then they showed us an awesome trailer at the end with Breath of the Wild that launched alongside the Switch. But, I mean, take a look. This is, again, Business Insider, and they're talking about the Wii U as, of course, the last system Nintendo released, and they said it was a problem that it was $300 and then $350. That was way too much for a console. They say it was seriously underpowered compared with the competition from Microsoft and Sony. Now, if you go back and look, $300 and $350 from 2012 to now is like the high point is almost $500. That really is how much inflation has kind of affected things now, by the way, when it comes to pricing these systems. I mean, think about it. We're buying the console from Nintendo, but they also have to secure all these different parts, and there's inflation that deals with that, and then of course availability, especially with all these different PC gaming handhelds behind the scenes that are being built. And while that's not directly affecting them with NVIDIA, there's still all these other ICs and components you need, especially for like power management, screens potentially. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it outside of just the chip that NVIDIA provides. Now, the belief going into that presentation, we had a range. Right here, they listed, and this was actually from Laura Kate Dale, but still, it was enough for them to cite it, $250 to $300. There were going to be two versions of the system, a base model and a deluxe bundle, very similar to the Wii U. So in a way, I guess the Wii U kind of set this one up to miss because we didn't have a $250 model. It was just $300. And there were definitely mixed opinions on that price when it was shown. Some people thought it was a good deal. Like, there were actually developers who had commented, and they're like, wow, we're actually surprised Nintendo was able to get all this stuff in the box because it's not just the system. There has to be a way to actually hook it up to the TV, right? You need the dock. All these other PC gaming handhelds don't have docks that come with them. Like, you got to buy those separately, and they can vary in price. And I know some of the official ones are like $60, for example, I think, for the Steam Deck. So tack that on top of technically the Steam Deck price to meet some of the things that technically the Switch, or now the Switch 2, can do. So that, the Joy-Cons, of course, all the cables and stuff, getting that to $300. Some of these developers, they said, hey, that's actually pretty impressive. Now, they're also third-party developers, and they're trying to prop the system up a bit because they're going to release games on it. So they want the system to do well. But still, some were looking at that as too expensive, which now if you look at it with inflation, 2017, 2020, end of 2024, basically, with the latest information we have, it's like $390 almost. Yes, that's technically in 2017, this would have been a $400 system now, just about. The old Switch, not even the OLED or the red box Switch, nothing like that. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, let's think of a range for the Switch 2. The range I have in mind is $400 to $450. And you know what? Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the high end of that. I sort of think Nintendo is going to have a $450 Switch 2. And I'm very curious how people would react to that. So some of the reasons I think we could see that is, one, inflation is the obvious thing. It's just things are more expensive now, technically, in terms of the sticker price that we see versus even 2017 when we had the original Switch come out. But even on top of that, if you just kind of look around at what some of the other systems are going for that everyone keeps comparing it to, it's, you know, the lower powered chips, portable devices that play these larger games, right? So like here, the ROG Ally, all right, that's $500 with a Z1 Extreme, 512 gigabytes of memory or storage. That's $500. That's on sale down from $650. You go up to the ROG Ally X, it's $800, $900, and so on. So it's I mean it's an expensive device in general. Sure, there's a lot you can do with it, of course, more so than even we don't even know all the stuff with the Switch 2, obviously OS level. But like this thing runs Windows. Yes, it can do a lot more than the Switch 2 can, but still $500. It's again not cheap. Doesn't come with a dock. So you keep that in mind. The Steam Deck even, right? So we have that at starting at $400, 256 gigabytes. That, by the way, is a bit more comparable since we believe that the Switch 2 will also have 256 gigabytes of actually very fast storage on board. Might end up with a smaller battery, though, which is interesting. I wonder how that'll work out. But still, that's $400, no dock. So Valve can actually get away with subsidizing their handheld. Asus is not interested in that. So that's one of the reasons the Ally is just more expensive, because Asus doesn't have a store you're buying from. Valve does. They want more and more people to use Steam OS, and the Steam Deck is just like another spoke in that wheel. How do we get more people on Steam? Let's sell an all-in-one device, basically this handheld for $400. And if they use it, they're going to give us money anyway because we get a cut of everything on Steam. Nintendo technically is in that same situation. Here's the thing with Nintendo. It's just different. It's Nintendo. They like to make money on their systems day one. So they did that with the Wii U. They were trying to make money immediately on the system. And yes, they had a deluxe edition, 350, 32 gigabytes of memory storage, and then they put a bunch of other stuff in there. Like there was the charging cradle for the tablet and stuff. So there were extra bits and pieces that they put in the box. They had a game, Nintendo Land, that came with it. But in this case, for the Switch 2, I kind of see this as Nintendo looking at it and going, you know what, the Switch 1, incredibly popular. It's going to be very difficult just to keep the thing in stock, probably for bare minimum the first 2 years. And after that, we'll probably have some sort of cut down Switch Lite version, Switch Lite 2 or something. But on top of that, if this system is $400, where does that put the Switch OLED at $50 cheaper? Because to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense to have that there. So if they have a $400 Switch 2, I have to imagine the Switch OLED will drop $50 and just be at $300. The only problem with that is Nintendo themselves have said the margin on the Switch OLED is actually pretty low. Like it's lower than the red box Switch. So if that's the case, the smart move would be you introduce the Switch 2 and you actually discontinue the Switch OLED. Or you keep everything where it is now and you have the Switch 2 at $450, and maybe you bundle stuff in like a game. They have like a fun little Nintendo Land Wii Sports kind of game that comes with it, and maybe some extra pieces, like there could be something when it comes to charging or a case, just things Nintendo can put in there to try to bolster that value on top of course, the system. But this is a very, very interesting thing to see Nintendo try to navigate here. I also thought about the idea of multiple SKUs. Maybe there is a 400, maybe there's a 450 and a 500. I'm trying to figure out what their mindset is here, because they're about to deal with a lineup of systems with even the Switch and the Switch OLED continuing to sell. How do they introduce this thing to where it doesn't necessarily feel like just a part of that family of systems and they differentiate it enough? Pricing might be one of them. But let me know what you guys think about this down below, because at this time, I'm making the prediction $450 for the Switch 2. And if it comes in at $400, you know what? I'll be pleasantly surprised, and I'll be happy to save $50 on what I was expecting to pay. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.